Hey friends, I don't know if you've ever had this experience. If you have kids, you might have had it many times. For example, my wife and I have an 8-year-old and a 2-year-old, both daughters, and they love to do artwork at home. The 8-year-old will bring us something that she's done, some piece of art, and we'll say, "That's amazing." And the 2-year-old will bring us something and hand it to us, and we'll look at it, and there's something you should never say to your kid, but you almost want to say it sometimes when your 2-year-old hands you a piece of art. You want to say, "This is wonderful. What is it?" You never say that. That's terrible. It'll break their spirit. So one thing we say to our daughter when she does something is we say, "Well, tell us about this. Can you tell me what you were trying to do here? What exactly were you aiming for?" Since it might not be perfectly obvious by the piece what they were trying to do. You might have even had this experience if you're in an art museum in the modern art section and you say, "I can see there's a giant dot, red dot on the wall in the middle of a white canvas, but I would love the artist to tell me what this means." Now, if they told you, you might buy it and you might not buy it. You might believe what they said was relevant, you may not, but it was nice to hear from the person what they were trying to do. You know, that's kind of an experience we have when we think about what we believe, is sometimes we don't exactly get to hear from the person what their intentions were. You know, it's like when my daughter, who's 2, draws something, when I hear from her to say, "Well, I was trying to draw the sun, and I was trying to draw the grass, and I was trying to draw the water," that makes a lot more sense when I look at that, if I look, that I can interpret it through a 2-year-old trying to draw the sun and grass and water. Oftentimes in our discussions of belief, it's easy to parody other people. It's easy to assume what other people are trying to do, and it's easy to assume why people believe what they believe, but oftentimes we have to admit we don't really get to hear it from that person. That's why I want to talk a little bit about a genre of book that's very widely available now that I think does that in a really good job. Most of the publishers in America, when we think about people like Westminster John Knox Press, Zondervan, and some different publishers have a series that they run where they show you multiple points. And the one I want to talk about today is by Zondervan Publishers, and it's called the Counterpoint series. And the way that you recognize it is basically 4 views on a topic. This one happens to be 4 views on the Apostle Paul. This one is 4 views on Christian spirituality, 4 views about evangelism. And what they do in these books is they'll bring in a collection of scholars who represent the different positions. And they'll each write a chapter. And then they'll have conversations where they'll respond to each other and they'll kind of push back or pull in, or they'll say, "Here's why I said what I said, here's where I differ, here's why I ultimately end up thinking what I think." But it's an incredible little basic way to get those views from the people who actually believe them. It's a lot easier to get a clear understanding of something by hearing the intentions of a person and not just hearing what we think we would like to hear them be saying or what we think they would be saying, but instead to hear it from themselves. Sometimes our intentions make all the difference. So I would totally encourage you, look into some of these 4 views series. You can come to any library around you, come here, and just you can do searches, sometimes 3 views, sometimes 5 views, but they have them on almost any topic you can imagine. It's an incredible way to get into the thought, not just of the topic, but also into the head of the people who believe a certain position. Great way to familiarize yourself not only with your own thoughts, but with the beliefs of others. I hope you'll take a look. I hope you'll look into these sorts of books. I think they're a great way to learn. We'll see you next time.